By this time of your grade 12 year, you are starting to prepare for your final exam. So you should be skilled and exposed to all the techniques that you are going to be writing about, including your grade 11 work. Because remember, a lot of the stuff that you've done in grade 11 will appear in your final exam in grade 12 as well. And if we then take a look at this worksheet that I've given for you, the first question is just a simple parabola coming from the grade 11 work. Simple parabola. Question number 1A says just sketch the graph. So you should just be able to interpret that equation to sketch the graph of the parabola. No problems with that. Then moving on to question number B, they're talking about the roots, real roots with opposite signs at number B2. And for that, you just need to remember that if you take a look at the parabola, you've got your y-intercept and your x-intercepts. Your x-intercepts are exactly that. It's the roots of the equation. That's what it is. We talk about the solution to the equation, we talk about the x-intercepts of the graph, or we talk about them as the roots. Now what you need to remember about this is if you take a look at your y-axis and say you've got your parabola going like this, a positive parabola, the x-intercepts will be different numbers. If it passes through the x-axis and somewhere further down it passes through the x-axis again, it turns. Then it means it's got unequal roots. If the parabola shifts upwards so that it just simply touches on the x-axis, then it will have equal roots. And if the parabola moves even further up, it will not touch the x-axis at all. Then it has non-real roots. So what it comes down to is the fact that you've got to take a look at the y-intercept. As this parabola moves up and down, whatever happens to the roots actually is generated or is caused by the y-intercept. So you must take a look at that question from that frame of a frame of reference of what happens to the y-intercept so that the roots changes according to what the question is asking you to do. Then we take a look at question number C, where they are telling you that you must find the place where the parabola, because that is just simply the equation of the parabola, is equal to 4.5. And remember, they are telling you that you must use capital letters A and B. Very important, you can't use anything else. You must read the instructions carefully. Indicate using capital letters A and B where the parabola equation on the right hand side is equal to 4.5. And to make it easier for you, remember that you can replace that equation of the parabola with y. And there I've just given you the necessary tip to solve equation number C, or question number C. Then we move on to question number 2, which essentially is the remainder theorem. You need to know how to use and interpret the remainder theorem. It's part of your grade 12 work. You will need it for drawing cubic graphs as well. So you need to know how to interpret a question like that from the perspective of the remainder theorem. And then when we take a look at question number 3, basically question number 3 is coming back to parabolas again. It looks like it might be a calculus question with the first derivative, but it isn't. Take a careful look at the question and the context of what they're saying, and specifically the context of what they're asking. And you'll understand that it's all about the turning point of the parabola. And the only difference between that and a typical question about parabolas is that you are not working with x and y. You are working with h and t. But other than that, it is still a straightforward parabola, and you need to find certain values on the parabola, and most of these questions revolve around the coordinates of the turning point.